Hello and welcome to another episode of CXO Fireside Chat with Kalpana. Our guest today is Mr. Vinod Khode, Senior Vice President and Group CIO at Varroc. A very warm welcome to you, Vinod.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Our pleasure. So, Vinod, if you can walk us through your journey from being a system developer at HCL HP to becoming a Group Chief Information Officer at Varroc.
Yes. Yeah, it has been quite a journey, almost 30 years. So started with as a programmer on Unix and COBOL, and now all the way to a group CIO. So in between, I also had a stint in US for almost 10 years working for Cummins there. And then I moved back to India to work for the Cummins office in India. And then I took up this position. So I've been in this position for last 3 years working for Varroc. I think this more has been like trying to go where people are afraid to go. There have been instances where I could have just stayed with the company, but I always wanted to challenge myself to take it to the next level. So it's usually a place where you get complacent and then you start stagnating. And that's where I started to stay away from those situations. So whenever I was at top, I scaled down and took up something new so that whatever I have gained remains with me and I learn new things. And that has helped me to take this position. If I have not done those things, probably I would not have been qualified for a group CIO role. So I think the message is that, and especially in IT, things change every few months now.
Yeah.
Now with the way ChatGPT has changed the whole surface or the AI is mind-boggling. Like within few weeks, there were 2 billion users logged in there. So I think the things are getting more challenging. So you cannot be complacent. You have to just keep learning.
Yeah, it has taken the whole world as a storm.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss more about the new technologies surely in our other questions. So coming to, your current role at Varroc and Varroc being the automotive component manufacturing company. So as this industry is also like witnessing significant advancements in technology such as electric vehicles and connected cars. So how are the, businesses like Varroc positioning themselves to capitalize on these emerging trends and contribute to the evolution of the automotive industry?
Yeah. So I think just like all automotive players, Varroc is also positioning them and strategizing for how this whole landscape is changing because of the EV. And if you look at it, Varroc as a company is sort of agnostic of whether it is EV or an ICE engine. So our main products are like electronics. If you take any two-wheeler which is on the road, it's a good probability that almost 50% of the part is coming out of Varroc, right? From the handlebar assembly, the clutches, the speedometer and the modern speedometer, the tail light, headlights, seats, all the polymer parts. So whether it is EV or ICE engine, you still need all this, right?
Yeah.
So now we have also created our own tool set or offering for the EV. We have a traction motor, a DC-DC charger, and the engine control unit. And so all this, which is needed by typical EV to convert from an ICE engine-based vehicle to an EV, is also there with Varroc. And we already supplying to a couple of major players in India for that EV. And on top of that, for the four-wheelers, again, we are still agnostic because our main products for the four-wheeler have been the high-end headlights and tail lights and all interior lights. So again, same thing, whether it is it's ICE engine or it's a EV, you still need this product.
Yeah.
So quite agnostic of it. And plus, as you said, how we are contributing to this whole thing is, I think, Make in India initiative by the government. And they are also monitoring it very closely that how many parts that is going to go or is going in the EV is supplied from India. So we are one of the players. And of course, there are many more, but we are one of the players. And as I said in the start, I'm currently sitting in R&D office. So this is an R&D office about 1,000 people with continuous improvements and continuous innovation being done. So we are coming up with our own products, which we offer. And that's our strategy.
Yeah. So, like we know, Varroc operates in both passenger car as well as motorcycle segments. So, how do the company's technology solutions, or we can say the strategies, differ between these two segments, and what unique challenges and opportunities do they present in terms of product development and customer engagement?
Yeah, I think the product development team, in terms of principles of, if I talk about headlight, the LED based high end headlight, I think the light principles remain same. They are not different. But then if you are talking about a four wheeler, the requirements is different, right? And that's where the differentiation happen. As such, and then not only just the development and testing, the other part of is like proving the quality and all. So these are all different ways of doing it. So if I have to test a headlight or a four wheeler, there is the room where we test it and all the equipment that we need. It's a dark room. It's a very big dark room. The light has to be on for so many hours, and then we have to check the luminescence of the light and the throw of the light and all. So those things are common. But as when it comes to four wheeler, the distance is more, and when it comes to two wheeler, probably the width and distance is a lot. Those norms changes because of what government has prescribed for the law or the land. Differs from country to country as well. But apart from that, the major principles in the tool set that you used are all similar.
Yeah. So the automotive sector is increasingly focused on sustainability and reducing its carbon footprint.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah. So how is the automotive industry embracing green technologies and sustainable practices in its manufacturing processes and product offerings?
Yeah, I think now that has got ingrained as a part of your design and thought process itself, that whatever you're trying to do, when you're trying to make a new product, you're trying to productionize it as a part of the process, trying to do something which is going to be bad for the environment. And that has become part of your design process itself. So that is there, and the whole value chain, right from where you procure it from, our tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. So we also make sure that we don't create a lot of waste in packaging. The complete thought process is given for reusable packaging scenarios. Not only it is good for the environment, but it also is good for the pocket for both supplier and for us and to the customer, because if the product cost, because packaging adds to the product cost, and then all of that gets loaded to the customer. So everything is a very good in a value chain. And in terms of other initiatives, like more and more solar panels are getting propped up on our plants. So we are trying to see use of green energy. And Varroc has also invested in farms of wind. There is a wind power farm, not related to the plant, but it's a separate thing which we feed it to the grid. And the solar farm is also there. So we are doing that. And of course, as you said, the reusable packaging is something that we talk to our OEM in almost all product wherever possible. We try to use the reusable packaging, especially being in a B2B and also in a business where our most of the business is a milk run, where it's just in time supply. So in those scenarios, viable. If you are sending something across the borders, then probably the possibility becomes less. And most of the plants that we have are in the vicinity of the OEMs. So it's a milk run which is happening, and the reusable packaging is something that we always entertain and use.
Yeah. So I completely agree with you now. Sustainability has become the DNA itself while we are producing the products. And you talked about solar power, using solar as a... So would you like to also highlight some of the other technologies, which we can term as sustainable technologies? Or maybe, you think that UH technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, or data analytics and IoT are something which are actually contributing, again, in terms of sustainability and improving other processes and bringing efficiency. So what are your thoughts?
So I think it's a very good point that you bring, that solar and wind power and sustainable packaging, these are the direct measures of trying to see or trying to be green. But if whatever you try to do and try to use technology to create efficiency or to increase the productivity efficiency, in a way, indirectly, you reduce the waste. Right? For example, we have implemented supplier portal. Now, so a lot of things that we are demanding from the supplier. So before he ships, he goes on the portal, he fills all these things. One is the paper is getting eliminated. We get a visibility. If he's sending a schedule before we tell him that don't send, because it will be a waste that it comes in and then we have to send it back. So those type of things are anything that we are doing for productivity, efficiency is directly, indirectly contributing to the environment. It's like we are trying to be like the discussion that we are having online. We are having a lot of meetings across, we have 30 plants across India. And earlier, before COVID, I would say we were having a lot of meeting face to face. People used to travel for important meeting. Like once a month, we have an ops review, and the leaders were traveling. But this is totally stopped now. So this is again another example that using technology, you're contributing to the carbon footprint reduction.
Yeah, sure. So, as an Indian multinational company with the global presence, how does Varroc addresses the complexities of the automotive supply chain and ensure seamless integration of technology solutions across different regions and markets?
Yeah. So I think one I just talked about is supply chain portal, supplier portal that we are trying to. The first phase is already live. So this year is going to be a lot of big changes that we are trying to bring in
So,
the
what's
way
the
we are.
technology behind this portal that you're creating?
So our main ERP is SAP, and where all the data gets. But then if we are trying to source something, like if we are sending a schedule to a supplier, usually it used to go through our MRP on an email to the supplier. Now he will be able to log on to the portal and see, okay, this is the demand which is coming from Varroc. So he will accept, or he will tell that he won't be able to fulfill those type of things which were happening on emails. And it was creating inefficiency will get digitized. So you will be having a better visibility as a supply chain planning person and the material person. And this will also help us in our supply chain and demand forecasting solutions, right? So this portal is a web-based application given to all suppliers, and all those who are onboarded are also sending their advance shipment notice through that, so that it informs us that, okay, this shipment is ready and I am shipping it today. So I have a visibility that within this, I know this supplier can ship in 1 day's time. So within a day, whatever I have asked will be there at my door. So my planning becomes perfect. So I think this is one. And the other question that you ask is across the globe, are we trying to, how are we integrating ourselves? So we did had that we had different ERPs in different places. Now we have created a roadmap that we will just have one ERP across all the, irrespective of whether it is India or Europe, we'll just have one ERP. So as we speak, our one team is in Europe, and we are trying to bring that SAP into our main SAP in India, and that will also create a clear visibility to the supply chain, because the IT, HR, supply chain team, legal, these are all central teams. Okay, the costing team, the corporate finance. So it becomes easier for them to do their observations and trying to do the corrections. It's easier if it is one big instance of SAP.
Yeah. Okay. So, with the rise of connected cars and IoT, cybersecurity is a growing concern in the automotive industry. So, how does Varroc addresses the cybersecurity challenges associated with connected vehicles and ensure the integrity and protection of data transmitted between vehicles and external systems?
Yeah, I think Varroc has solutions around. As I said, we have the ECU, ACUs, and all those things. But you see, being as a part of a B2B solution provider, your component goes and sits in the vehicle of the OEM. And OEM wants the data which is generated out of this four-wheeler and the two-wheelers or three-wheelers to be part of their system, their cloud. So what we are trying to do, if as a part of the design itself, when the ECU, ACUs are made, and whether it's a eSIM which is going to be put into those control units, then that is where we are looking at a security part along with the OEM's design team, and you are trying to do it. But as of now, the whole cyber security of the data of a moving vehicle is with the OEM, because they want to have a control on that. But there is one area which Varroc is already, as a product offering that we are saying, we have a product called Car IQ, which is into the insurance sector. So if you have a vehicle and you have a vehicle insurance, the earlier way of doing it was that you have a premium defined as per the type of car you use and your age and all that. Yeah. But now with this equipment that we manufacture, and we work with all the big 3-4 insurance provider in India, they put this device in the car, connected to your OBD port, and it is constantly monitoring the way you are driving. Okay. And it based on your driving behavior, your premium gets adjusted. So it's not one size fit all premium. It's if you're a good driver, you have a good driving habits, your premium will be low. So that is one product in which the cybersecurity of the data is completely with us, and it's in our cloud. And we have followed all the 9 yards of how to keep the data secure, because it's also personal information. And as per the law, which is going to get passed or it's already passed now in both the houses, this data has to be kept very confidential. So we have layers of security on that, the security of data in motion, at rest, and how does it get consumed by the insurance company, all traceability is there.
Well, that's fantastic. And that was a really good example, that one can relate with, that how, this industry is actually, with the help of data, identifying that, that driving pattern, that and deciding the premium amount accordingly.
Right.
That's really fantastic. Okay, so what challenges have you faced while leading cross-functional teams? Now, starting your career and now reaching to being a group CIO. So, of course, this is something we would like to know from you, that how are you managing the change management and the different functional teams?
I think, yes, it's a good question. So now my perspective is not just IT. Being in this position, the expectation from the senior leadership is to get the problem solved, whether it is IT or not IT. It's like you have to lead from the front. So I think whether it is Varroc or other earlier companies I worked with, which was like Fortune 100 companies, surprisingly, the problem remains common. I wouldn't say problem, it's a challenge. As you say, it's a change management. So it's like trying to make make the team which is working on that particular solution think as one person, one team. That is the biggest thing that you can do. There is no technology challenge, because technology, you can throw a bunch of people or vendor at it and it will get resolved. But making people work as one team is the biggest challenge. And I think it's the way you try to address what is in it for me. And also if you just add the part really, so what is really in for me? If once that part is addressed and everybody sees that why working on this challenge or in this project or this change, how it is going to change me, help me to grow and, add to my experience. And at the same time, it also helps the organization. Once that part is addressed, the team gels in and they start working as one team, and a lot of big problems get resolved. Like, for example, last year, we were divesting. Varroc as a company was doing a big divestment, and there was certain activity which need to be completed in like 3 to 4 months. There were stringent dates to it, and it was a cross-functional team. Okay, and ideally this would have taken a year of work. But trying to get this done in 3 months' time using a cross-functional team where the finance, IT, legal, operations team, plant team, all of them were involved, and also across geography. It was not just India. It was like we were working with teams members sitting in India, in Vietnam, in Italy, in Romania, in Poland, and all of them working in tandem was really something that we were able to make it happen. But again, it went back
different time zones,
different time zone, different culture, But then once we address the main question, that why are we doing it, how is it going to help each individual, how is it going to help the organization, why is it important, I think it got done. And then the planning and all that comes later. But I think leading from the top and giving them the confidence that this is why we are doing, and being transparent helps.
So this looks like to be the most difficult project that you have delivered so far. Yeah. Okay. So looking into the future, what is Varroc's vision for the role of technology and innovation in the automotive component industry? And how do you see Varroc contributing to the industry's transformation and delivering cutting-edge solutions to meet the evolving needs of consumers and the automotive market?
Sure. So I think as a part of the earlier discussion, we're talking about the EV. So EV is picking up. As we say, there will be some point of time in future, like maybe in 3, 4, 5 years, where you will see both the lines crossing, the sale of the ICE engine based vehicle, and then this is picking up and going up. So it's a journey which has already started. It cannot be stopped. Of course, there are challenges for which needs to be addressed: the charging station and the cost of the vehicle, which is certain things is not in the control of the manufacturer, especially the battery. But in terms of our preparedness, what we have started doing, the earlier one example I already gave, that we have created a 5-year program. In 2020, we sat down and seriously looked at, while people were grappling with COVID, we said this is a good time, actually a good opportunity to sit down and create a 5-year roadmap, because once this ends, we should be able to bounce back and get into a good position. So we created a plan that our vision, missions and all should be intermingled with technology, because technology is going to help you to do more with less. And that's where we strategized and said, okay, all our data centers, which we have a couple of data centers, we need to move it into cloud, because that's where we get the agility. So we did that meticulously for the next 1.5 to 2 years. And then we have started the next journey, because it is a layered approach. If your foundation is solid, then you can stack things on top of a solid foundation. So with our cloud journey done, we started getting into the other area. I told about the supplier portal. So that journey started mid of last year. It's already like half done. We had our homegrown HR management system. So now we are going with the industry standard top 3 solutions in the world. So we are implementing it across the globes, because manpower is important. So we need to have a visibility, not just that, okay, what is that KRA, but how are they doing? What is their aspiration? Are we training them properly? Things like that. So that becomes, that brings in the efficiency. Here, as we speak, the reason I am in this office today, in the R&D office, we are implementing PLM, that again, a journey started last year. So with product lifecycle management solution, again, we are going with the top 3 in the world, where we will be having an efficiency in terms of the project management, any new product development, our own innovation, a complete visibility to the journey, and not depending on somebody's Microsoft project or Excel sheets, which was the earlier way of doing it. So we are into that. So we are using a lot of places in technology. IoT is another journey we have been working for last 1.5 years. We implemented in some key plants, and now we are reaping the benefit. We are sitting in any office on your phone, and even from home, you're able to monitor what's happening in the plant. If there is a stoppage, the supervisor can get an alert that, okay, you wanted to produce this part, like 600 numbers, but now halfway through, we see that you have just reached 300, and there is a good chance that we'll miss this. So he'll log in and see what's happening there. Is it because of the breakdown? Is it because of the person? Or is it the the parts are not available, and he can make the arrangement. Earlier it was, somebody has to be on the ground to monitor all this. So IoT is another thing that we have been working on. So various things that we have put in the plan, and we are meticulously working on these things and using the technology. Like earlier, I don't know, I talked about, but 2 years back, we also did a big program of using low code and no code based solution, where a lot of new ideas which come from the business, especially towards trying to do more with less. And they wanted a workflow solution that if I want a solution where if I suppose you want to monitor the overtime at the plant. Earlier it was being done on, notepads and things like that. So now they just go on the system and they book it, and it's a workflow which gets created. So these type of low code, no code solution, we have created a team. And it's we are also trying to go to the next level is citizen based development. And we are also trying to train some of the business people to dump some of their Excel sheet and start using modern technologies. Another area that we are working is the data and analytics, which is a key thing. With all these things coming in picture, the CRM, the PLM, success factor for HRMS, we have source of data. Now, if you don't use this data for decision making, then I think the data will just sit there and its value will not get realized. So again, another program started, and this will be co-created by IT and the business. So each business is nominating their analytics person, they are hiring people. There'll be data stewards who will be responsible for data. There'll be subject matter expert, like talk about warranty. Warranty management is a science. Like somebody has to come from a statistic background, do this available analysis and say that, okay, my product based on its the testing cycle that we have gone, I have to put this much money in the warranty and then make sure that I don't use that, because again, that at the end of the year, it adds to my profitability. So these are all things we are trying to do using data analytics and take it to the next level with all this data. Then we are trying to also get into area where one part we have already done is using technology where the people from the business side, instead of developing a report, they can speak to or write simple queries, show me the OEE or EBITDA of this plant for this month and by this. So they just have to type it and all the report gets created automatically. So this technology has been there for last 3-4 years, and there are many vendors. We are using one of the solution. But as I was saying earlier, is that trying to form a cohesive team and make them think like one team. That's where we have been working on. Technology is always there. And I think finally we are getting there. So I think these are some of the things that we are doing for Varroc and to get it to the next level.
Certainly. So what we can conclude is like it's automation completely. And, when it comes to driving business these days. And like you said that, it was a 5-year plan that you made first, and then, going ahead with that plan, executing things, implementing those technologies, or maybe developing, creating a cohort, and, a mix of your own team, and then also having vendors with the, I'm sure, strong SLAs in place. Yeah. So how are you managing that, striking that balance between the CapEx and OpEx?
It's a good question. Yeah. So I think the thumb rule is that whatever we have put in as a CapEx, right? So we, one example that I talked about earlier is implementation of IoT at the plant, which is where the most of the CapEx get pumped in for any manufacturing business. So keeping a close eye, are we utilizing the full CapEx of that organization? How do you do it? You can say overall plant efficiency, overall equipment efficiency. So we go there, we have implemented IoT, and then this data is coming in and it's getting reviewed by the leader daily basis, because now earlier, those were the days where once a month, everybody will get in and prepare this report and present to management. But the data streaming in continuously. Now there are business heads and presidents who have a smart TV and big screen in their room, and they're able to see these KPIs on their screen. And they can literally do this correction on daily basis instead of doing on periodic basis or weekly basis or monthly basis. So I think that is where we are trying to use technology to improve the CapEx utilization. And OpEx is something that you can control only if you monitor it very closely. Okay. For example, like there's one element that we are looking at. Why is the travel so much? Now, if you say cut down and using the data, we just don't look at the major number, but say, is there an anomaly in terms of the travel is increasing because of what? Is it in which region, which project? And then you find out, okay, we are setting up a new plant. Of course, people have to travel. It's a healthy way. Let people travel to that, because you cannot do a new plant setup sitting here in the office. But if there is already a mature organization, mature plan, and people are traveling to those locations, and that cost is going up, that's where you question. So I think the OpEx and CapEx part is a balance which can be achieved by doing the right monitoring, and that's where the data analytics come in play. It gives you a low level detail, and people should be able to query and get into those details, like why is this CapEx more? If you had a budget of CapEx for setting up a new plant or for a new project or a new innovation, and it is going beyond, then you should be able to drill down and see where did it actually go. Is it actually go up in utilization of a fund in certain category? Like example, travel was one thing I said. Is it travel which is adding? Did you buy new licenses for software which was not estimated? Then you can get into detail, why did this happen? And then have a team which can do the fishbone analysis and all. It's a discipline, it's a culture that has to be put in, that whenever you try to do your estimation, do it right to the most extent, whatever possible with based on the data which was available at that point of time, and then do this controlling activity.
Yeah. So thank you so much for answering that last question and sharing your valuable insights on the technological advancements and digital strategies adopted by Varroc and automotive sector as a whole.
Yeah.
So our CXO audience will surely benefit from this discussion, and it was a complete pleasure speaking with you.
Sure. Thank you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.